the video so we can get as many people as possible watching this thing. If y'all are just tuning in, welcome to the show. I am Clay Edwards. This is Trigg, and the other man is Chops. I really feel like the three of us need no introduction, but just in case you're new here and don't know who we are, that is who we are. I am sharing this to my Facebook. No introduction needed. Let's get it. So what I'm really excited about with this is, we put this together pretty quick. It's been on my mind for a long time to do this. Ever since I first got into doing this, I was like, there's going to be a point where I'm going to have Trigg and Chops. I thought about doing it separately. Then I said, no, I want them at the same time.
Yeah, you got to have us together.
I want it at the same time because we all three, Trigg had a little head start on us, but we all three, from the time I owned my first bar, you guys rode the tank with me. For better or for worse, y'all had my back when I was right, when I was wrong. A lot of times when I was wrong. A lot of times. And, we've remained friends over the years, through thick, through thin. Our kids have grown up to know each other, and man, it's been a good time. So I thought, why don't we do something special for ourselves and for everybody that we know? And let's do this. So welcome to the shit show, everybody. Now we've got a Trigg Jr. in the house. You want to jump in front of the camera and wave at everybody real quick?
Little Trigg.
So family. Now, to my daughters that see this, I did not know we were inviting children, or I would have invited y'all. But this is what we're doing, man. Like I said, really excited about this. Joe, straight from work to home. But again, hey, for everybody just tuning in, because we are on the Save Jackson page. If you guys grew up in Jackson, going to nightclubs anytime from Trigg, when did you get in the club business?
94-ish.
Pull that mic closer to him.
94-ish.
94-ish. Chops, when did you?
I'm gonna say probably late 97.
What was your first club job?
The first one officially was the Buffalo Chips gig.
So that would have been 98, 99.
98, okay, yeah.
Yeah, 98, 99, somewhere in there. And my first job in the bars was working the door at Bailey Avenue, Inez's. And, it was either there or it was at Rodeos as a bar back. It was all kind of there about the same time. I think it had to have been Inez's because I remember being underage, 17 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember being 17, working the door with Miss Inez, checking everybody else's IDs, telling them if they could come in or not. Meanwhile, I was working there with a fake ID. I don't know if Inez knew or not. Sorry, Miss Inez, rolling it all out there. So, we suffice to say, man, we go back and we've seen a lot of stuff over the years in the clubs. And Chops, now Trigg, did you ever work at the dock?
Briefly.
Did you? Now, Chops, you rode the dock.
Yeah.
You were there at the very end, weren't you?
No, actually, I was in California toward the very end. Or just moving back from California and all.
During that whiskey and go.
Now, real quick, before we jump all the way in, there's no way I can do a live feed tonight and not mention LOL at Jackson on their garbage stuff. I believe that the garbage you should all take your garbage to one of two places, City Hall or Antar Lumumba's driveway, and just burn it all there because this was so avoidable. So avoidable. Everybody... I'm pretty sure somewhere on the Clay Edwards Show podcast, I discussed that this was going to end in a complete disaster, and it did. It did. I'm Clay Stradamus over here. All right. So if you guys want to chime in, we got your, I see all your live chats and stuff. We'll pull you up. If you want to text into the show, if you don't want to leave comments in the comment, you can text my Guns and Gear text line that I use on the radio show. It's 769-241-1944. I'm going to type that in here. Text line 769-241-944. All right. So we did an honorary shot for our friend Kyle Bullock. If you know Kyle, he should be a part of this, but unfortunately we lost him 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
And he's not here. Is obviously there, but Kyle was a big fan of doing the shots, so we did a shot in his honor. All right, so let's fast forward a little bit, or jump back in time. I mean, buffalo chips. Let's start, and we can go back from there. So me and Trigg, he wanted me to tell this story before we went on the air. He's like, tell him how we know each other, Clay. So we were at Buffalo Chips, and for those that don't know, Buffalo Chips was the old Mississippi Bar Nothing on Highway 18. Chip Matthews owned it, and they also had the place out next door to Shuckers.
Yes,
that ended up being a Smith Marine, and it had been Gators and a dozen other.
It was Buffalo Chips North.
Buffalo on the Riz.
Yeah.
What? It was also Muddy Waters at one point.
Yes,
I
double
think
wide.
I think Muddy Waters is probably its most famous incarnation. Yeah. And so Chip was doing both of those with his cast of business partners and whatnot. And I was going to Heinz at the time. I was 21, 22, somewhere in that neighborhood. Anyway.
Yeah, something like that.
Had been a little older than that. Anyway, we're at Buffalo Chips getting a fight one night. Trigg chokes me out. Put Rads and big arms around me, chokes me out. I'm mad. I went total Ole Miss frat guy and went back there and said, "Do you know who my daddy is?" What a douchebag move, right? But it worked. I ended up part owner of the bar.
And my boss.
And his boss. Yeah. So
that's the way the shit works, huh?
In like a 2 or 3 day time period. Like, well, look at him.
You choke out a white kid and he buys the fucking bar.
Well, Chip did this thing called sweat equity.
Oh, yeah.
You bought in, and then you did all the work.
Chip knew how to rip you off. So.
Yeah, Chip knew how to recruit.
Exactly.
Chip knew how to recruit. No, man, look, Chip's still doing it, man, out there at Acme Pizza. They're one of the sponsors on the Clay Edwards show. So shout out to Acme Pizza. We went with Little Caesars tonight because it was a block away from the house, but I would have rather it been Acme, but it was way out of the way. So we're all working there, and man, look, it was hell. It was hell. I mean, in a good way. I mean, we tore it up. I mean, Chops, what are some of your memories from that time frame? Because that was your first foray into being a bouncer.
I mean, hell, I really can't remember too much of shit.
Well, that's why I brought y'all on, because I can't remember anything.
Dude, that was damn. I do know. I remember one fucking night we got into that big ass bar fight. It was downstairs. And I ended up turning my fucking hand into hamburger meat because I swung at the dude and he ducked and I went through the glass display case.
I remember that. Look,
I was like, you son of a bitch.
Man, look, I remember talking about bar fights and one of our mutual friends, Derek. Oh. So I'm at the old place next door to Pops there when John Adams had it. Stardust.
Yeah, Stardust.
I'm at Stardust one night, and the girl that I was dating or had been dating on and off at the time, she was dating me and this other guy, kind of going back and forth. And I saw them there at the bar. And I'm like, oh, hell no. I'm going to do something about this. And they used to, when the bathrooms used to be down a hallway.
Yeah, back down.
Yeah, like an L-shaped hallway. Yeah, right. Well, I went in the hallway, and man, I'd be damned. Apparently him and all 37 of his friends were coming out of the bathroom, and there I was after I've been running my mouth. I was like, well, it is, what they say, hit or get hit.
Exactly.
It was hit or get hit. And I just swung. I was like, well, I'm going down swinging, and I missed.
Oh,
I spun around.
That's the worst.
I ended up on the ground, convinced of getting my ass kicked. And Derek, man, God bless him. He jumped in, took an ass whooping with me. Yeah. And that was the night he messed his arm up and had 1,000 arm surgeries.
Yeah.
Elbow surgeries, everything else of that. But that's my most memorable. And because then we ended up opening Crazy 8. It was the same time we opened Crazy 8.
Yeah.
So that was when we went back up there and got in a fight with those guys. Y'all remember that? And we took the whole crew back up there, and it was like, then we got the upper hand advantage. There was never a rubber band match. They came back out to Crazy 8. It was like truce. Yeah. I was like, thank God. I'm trying to fight these guys. Y'all got me. We got y'all. We're good. I hadn't seen those guys since then, but I still remember their names. I won't say their names on here, but good times. Good times for sure. Now, Trigg, most recently, you've been a soldier at Pops.
Yeah.
Are you still there? Pull the mic.
Yeah.
You got to keep that mic up close, dog.
Yes, sir.
So what's going on at Pops, man? I mean, that it's a legendary place. I know it's different owners and stuff now, and Jackson's obviously changed a lot. But Pops is still Pops.
It's still pop.
Is it still popping at Pops?
Yeah, it's still good. I mean, the demographic changed a little, but it's still pop.
I mean, is it still like after the strip clubs close, everybody goes there?
Everybody go there.
Because there's no really after the clubs close anymore. Because there's really no clubs left. M-bar, yeah. I mean, because you got Shelkers.
I know of nothing.
Yeah, I don't go anywhere.
No,
I mean, I go to downtown Brandon here to Burgers and Blues. You know, I don't venture out much anymore. Not at all. Not at all. So, well, anything crazy going on? I want to tell a story real quick about Pops. My daughters were there one night, and I guess some shooting popped off out in the parking lot. And Trigg gets them behind a bar or something or another. And that was the last time they really went out like that. They're like, oh, we ain't. I was like, y'all understand? It's just some places ain't meant for young girls.
Why would you allow them out there?
I mean, you just don't know. You don't know.
But still, I mean, you gotta look.
See, they didn't know I was there.
You know, my daughter texts, "What you doing?" I was like, "A podcast, live right now." Obviously, you're not watching. Let's go through some of the comments here. Let's see, rodeos, man, just people saying what's up. Kind of going down the what's ups there. Not a whole lot of action in the comments so far.
Going back to bar fights, Buffalo Chips.
I've never been in a bar.
You remember us versus the hockey team?
Yeah.
No, Trigg, remember us versus the Mississippi State fraternity at Crazy 8? That was another time they got the best of us.
Retreat.
Well,
Retreat.
the hockey team never got the best of us.
No.
The Bandits.
Yeah.
So tell the story.
Well, I mean, we didn't know who they were at first.
Where was it at?
Buffalo Chips.
Okay.
Upstairs. They came in and just starting shit. So it was me, him, Jeff, and Jason. We kicked them all out, and they wanted to start running their mouth outside.
So when you hear us refer to Buffalo Chips upstairs, downstairs, the old Highway 18, the Bar Nothing, there was two buildings. There was Bar Nothing and the Party House. Upstairs is Bar Nothing.
Yeah.
Downstairs is the Party House. Kind of paint the picture for y'all. Were either one of y'all working there still when it burned down?
No, I had just left. I think CJ was actually working there. I think CJ was actually sleeping in the office when it caught fire.
So CJ burned it.
JJ?
No, CJ.
Which one's CJ?
He was a buddy of Daryl's that actually ended up moving out to California with all of us when we went. He was, hell, I can't describe him. Kind of balding.
I don't remember him.
White guy.
Yeah, he was a white guy.
A white guy. Do we still have to define things by white or black? So did anybody meet their wives in the bar?
I did.
Trigg, where did y'all meet?
Red Lobster.
Red Lobster? She was a bartender there or something, wasn't she?
No. What? No, she wasn't a bartender.
Did she work there?
No.
No, okay. I couldn't remember. Trigg just refuses to talk into the microphone.
I know when his son is back there going.
Her sister was kind of sweet on Jason Jones.
Yeah.
And, you know, when there's four of you, I got stuck with her.
And she just never left.
Just never left.
Never left. How many kids y'all got? 3?
2.
2. Are you still wrestling?
Dude, I'm old.
Is that a yes?
That's a no.
So no, that shit hurts.
Yeah.
Do you watch any wrestling anymore?
Very little.
Yeah, it's not what it used to be.
No.
It's a bunch of trapeze artists jumping around, and I mean, I respect game, recognize game. You know, they're talented, but they don't tell stories. They don't tell stories.
Right.
Let's see.
But we had the Breakhouse Brown at the 105.
Yeah.
Breakhouse Brown, 105. Then he went over to Horseshoe. And crazy thing about it, when he passed, he was like talking about how he had never been in the WWE Hall of Fame. He died. They put him in. Yeah.
From a brick house?
Yeah.
Is he in there now?
Yeah.
That's good stuff. Your wife message comments. Emily says, "Stuck?" ? Gotcha. Trigg's already in trouble. We hadn't even knocked the dust off this thing yet, and Trigg can't come home.
Jeff Goodman said, "Bucky motherfucking Combs." Speaking of Bucky, that night we got into the fight with the hockey team. I think he joined in with us.
Now I have I have a lot of Bucky stories. But the best Bucky story, not the best, I couldn't tell that one on here. One of the best Bucky stories is, we would all, for a long time, a Jackson tradition on Thursday nights was to not go out in Jackson. You went over to Daiquiri World.
Yeah.
And so you had Daiquiri World and the strip bar right next to each other with the Long Branch Saloon.
Yep.
Long Branch. And
the old butt hut.
And, well, Vicksburg guys are the most territorial dudes in the state of Mississippi. It's not close. I don't care. People can say whatever they want about South Jackson in the 90s. Vicksburg guys are the most territorial people in the world. It did not matter what you were doing there. The fact you were there, your existence irked them. We were playing foosball. I don't know what happened. Next thing I know, Bucky reaches across the foosball table and smacks the crap out of a guy. Next thing you know, I get hit in the back of the head with a beer bottle so hard that I didn't feel it. All you felt was the beer.
Yeah.
And just like you felt something wet zoom past both ears. And I felt I was bleeding. I was like, oh, I got hit with a damn beer bottle. We end up outside. Bucky picks up a cross tie. Now, it's swinging him more than he's swinging it.
Yeah.
But it freaked the guys out just enough that this human could pick up a cross tie. And we were able to get in the vehicle and get the hell out of there. And Bugs like, stop at the gas station, dog. I'm like, we ain't getting the hell back across the river. We ain't stopping until we get to Hines County, dog. Yeah.
You got to love some Bucky.
Yes, no doubt. Hey, somebody texted in and said, what is Trigg's favorite type of frog?
A dead one.
Hey, you got to tell us the story.
I just hate frogs.
Oh, yeah. Man, look, I walked outside my garage the other morning getting ready to go to work, and to be damned, there wasn't a big frog jumping. I was like, I wanted to come back in and get one of my little dogs, and get it.
Dude, it don't matter what kind of frog it is. He is like terrified. Like, I thought he was going to kill me one fucking night because I threw a tree frog on his ass.
Yeah.
So, Micah Gober texts in and says, remember the statute of limitations, fellas.
I think they're up by now.
To be safe.
Sean Harmon says, what's up, guys? In a long time no see. What's up, Sean? It's nice seeing a bunch of these old folks, man. Jump in here, man. I ain't got a chance to see none of these people in a long time. This is the way we have to do it as we get older now, kind of jump in and do a podcast every now and then, just see people online. All right, so we kind of back to the club stuff for a minute. Well, it's Crazy 8. There's so much happened there. I mean, that's really, we could write a book about that. Most people don't remember this, but it was only open a little less than 2 years.
Yeah, it was a short time.
But and I had 105 for damn near 10 years. But more people remember me from Crazy 8. I get asked more Crazy 8 questions than anything else that I've ever done.
I think it was the back room at Crazy 8's.
The kitchen.
That's what got everybody, yeah.
The kitchen. It was just a revolving door. There's a picture of me somewhere in this house we brought the hot oil wrestlers to town for my birthday.
Oh, God.
Multiple times. It was my birthday a lot. I had more than 2 birthday parties in that 2 years we were there. But there's one of a naked hot oil wrestler sitting in my lap, just a Polaroid picture, because that's how you did it back in 2001. So that same night, I think we were doing the hot oil wrestlers, and they got me in there because it was my birthday, and they tried to pull my pants off, and I was just having to be commando that night. I'm like, no, no. It was like a tug of war. It's like, it's cold in here. You ain't pulling these down. It was never cold in that building, but it was cold that night. It got cold real quick. Oh man. And man, just all the fights. I'll never forget I'll never forget the Papa Roach night, and ending up with the drummer who was married to Steven Tyler's other daughter.
Yes.
Ending up with, he's not in the band anymore, but ending up with him at Babes. And
Well, I can remember we went to New Orleans to see him,
yeah, that was a great time.
and we hooked up with the guitar player. Was it Tobin or something like that? Anyway,
Bass player.
Yeah, the bass player. And
With some crazy cab driver that had us out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And I thought he was gonna stab him.
yeah, and I'm wearing a sleeveless shirt, and we're trying to get into what's the big strip, Rick's
Yeah.
Gentleman Club or whatever. They wouldn't let me in because I had on a sleeveless shirt, and the bass player was like, "I'll buy him a shirt. Just let us in." They were like, "No." I'm like, "Fuck you, we'll go party at Larry Flint's then."
Hey, well, now speaking of, he's not here to defend himself, but you mentioned New Orleans and Bourbon Street. I'll never forget you and Chip going to jail.
Oh
down there.
God.
So we all go down to New Orleans for just a party.
Well, we went to the Kiss concert.
Is that what it was? The Kiss concert?
It was the very first farewell tour because it was Skid Row, Ted Nugent, and Kiss. And
Well,
I think that's when Tommy had just joined Skid Row.
Well, we ended up back on Bourbon Street, and I ended up back at the hotel room, and Trigg and Chops end up at some restaurant.
No, me and Chip.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Chip. So,
Well,
all these nicknames.
I went to Memphis.
Yeah, he says, "Hey, let's go eat at this little place I always like to eat at when I come to Bourbon." I was like, "Okay, that's fine." And it was the Clover Grill, which is all the way down on the gay end, which I don't care.
But Chip,
Fuck it. It's good food.
Yeah, I mean, look, gay folks know how to party.
So exactly. So they sit us down at this table, and apparently where I was sitting, every time somebody would come in, the door would hit me in the back. So apparently
Not your preferred way to get hit in the back.
exactly. Especially at a gay restaurant. Come on now.
The jokes write themselves.
Exactly. So apparently I say something. Well, apparently the cook says something, and allegedly I had stood up and started flipping tables while people were sitting there eating at them.
I don't believe.
But
Not a word of it.
They end up in OPP.
I end up in OPP for 18 fucking hours.
So I had barely, it was either gas money to get home or just stay down there and be miserable. I had just enough gas money to get home and send back help. And keep in mind, 2001, 2002,
It was something like that. Yeah.
the cell phones were not as readily available at that time. I don't even know if I had I'm sure I had a cell phone at that time, but I couldn't get in touch with anybody. We didn't know Chops' real name. Chip could not get Chops out of jail because all he knew was Chops.
Yeah.
Because that Sharon had came down to get Chip, and they were trying to get Chops, and nobody knew Chops. He was like, big white guy with the beard. It's like, bro, this is New Orleans. There's a lot of that here.
Yeah.
So you spent 18 hours in OPP.
18 hours. I was making phone calls from a payphone in the pod.
That's back when you still got to know people's phone. Had to know people's phone
Exactly.
numbers. Well, somehow or another, they end up calling the hotel. I end up answering the phone in the hotel room. The Chip calls like, "We're in jail." I'm like, "Oh, that sucks. that sucks." And so I ended up coming back home. There was nothing I could do.
Well, apparently the wrong answer to "we are calling the cops" is "fuck you, I'm waiting on the cops." Never do that. When our hotel was like 2 blocks down on fucking Bourbon, all we had to do was go down there real quick.
Look, New Orleans is odd like that. It's kind of like Jackson as far as criminality, but don't you get in a fight and don't you pee on the side of a building?
Yes.
There's like they take the whole peeing on the side of a building thing very serious down there. The last time I remember, not the last time I went to New Orleans, but the last time I went down there to really party was a New Year's Eve, and it kind of broke me of it. It was so packed that the crowd just kind of picked you up and moved you down the road, and I'm not necessarily even claustrophobic, but that was good enough for me. I was like, I think I've had about enough. Now every time you turn on the news, there's a shooting or something going on down in New Orleans. But let's see here. Let's check up on some text here, or comments, should we say? Ricky Bowie says, "Remember when Trigg let me get jumped at Crazy 8?" So, look, man, I remember so little.
You asshole.
About Crazy 8.
I saved his life. They beat the hell out of him. I mean, they were like, yeah.
I guess I wasn't there that night.
No, he was drunk. And so his friend like won't take him home, so he's gonna sit in the car. And some guys pull in right beside him. He's over there passed out. You know, Bowie ain't never did shit to nobody. And when I just happened to be doing a parking lot stroll, and I see Bowie getting stumped in the corner.
Oh shit!
So I go down there, fight these people, I'll help him up, and man, his shit was fucked up.
Terry says someone has created a candle that's supposed to smell like Mardi Gras. I'm like, what is it? Piss and vomit?
Wow.
Dumpster fire.
Hey, she also asked, what was the name of the club on Highway 18? She said she thinks some folks were killed there. It wasn't open very long. So the clubs on Highway 18 were the Roundup. That was the redneck, the rodeo bar, the cowboy bar, Roundup.
Yeah.
Then there was Visions. Did either one of y'all work at Visions? And for the people that don't remember, Visions is the one on 18 that was in the old fisherman fish house, and they had the hot oil wrestling and they had the fight night.
It was Josh Gaskin and me.
I want to say, did I work at Visions after Miss Inez left and the other guy bought it?
But it would have been.
I can't remember.
If it was Visions, it would have been after the other guy bought it. Because it was always Inez's when she had it. It was. I remember she had a business partner there at one point. I remember I left there that night. And she told me, "Don't leave," and I wrecked my 3000 GT pulling in my neighborhood. And she's like, "Don't leave." I just remember it limped to the house, and I remember walking outside the next morning and forgotten all about it, and there it was bent like a U.
Yeah.
I was like, that wasn't a dream. No wonder I'm so sore. Mama turned around. There was my mom. Yeah, talk about what was it called? The limitations.
Yes.
Yeah, good times.
I'm surprised Shelby didn't whip your ass.
It wouldn't be the first time. If it happened in a previous century, I think we're clear, right? If it still had a 19 on the front of it,
oh yeah,
we're clear. We're clear. Yeah, we had a good time, man. Look, I've tried to get Miss Inez to sit down and tell some war stories, and
that'd be awesome.
I'm like, don't even do it for me. Do it for Jackson. I mean, do it for everybody that paid $5 to get in. And I learned a valuable lesson from Inez about pricing beer and all that stuff. She was like, don't overprice it and always add some change to it, like $2.50 instead of $3. Your bartender will get the 50 cents. They'll be happy, and they'll buy more beer.
Yeah.
Right.
You'll make more money selling it for cheaper. And it's the Walmart philosophy is what I've always kind of acknowledged it as.
Exactly. It's like Miss Boots, 75-cent beer night.
Michael Bracewell asked who on the catwalk before it was 105. Michael somebody, I think, wasn't it? Or Patrick or Pat?
It was two guys, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Two brothers.
Yeah, it was two brothers.
Man,
I don't know who they were. But
if you hadn't asked Michael, I could have told you their name. I just don't remember off the top of my head. My memories of the catwalk are probably
really fuzzy.
They're really fuzzy because I never really had that much fun upstairs in the catwalk.
All the fun was downstairs out on the streets.
Yeah, it was always the fights and and all that. I mean, I didn't go to the catwalk a whole lot, but I went enough for it to be legendary.
Yeah.
But I always had Inez's was just my spot, because I kind of had run of the place. I mean, she really let us have a good time there, and she took care of us. And then, of course, first time I ever went to a bar ever was Midnight Sun. Fake ID, of course.
Yes.
Dirty D was the DJ. Quarter pitchers. And I just remember a lot of those kind of like South Jackson legends. The older, it's funny to think of somebody that was 18 or 19 as being an older guy, but just compared to me at the time, I was 16, they were 18 or 19. That's a huge age difference at that point. I remember them out there getting in fights on the sidewalk. I'm like, man, I like this. You know, I never wanted to get my ass kicked, but I sure like watching other people do it. You know,
Miles said quarter pitcher at the depot.
oh,
I remember. Well, I don't remember many of those nights, but because apparently me and Derek was quarter pitchers with a fifth of Heaven Hill and Mountain Dew.
Is that back when
me,
you wore the chain?
Yes.
with
And the porn
padlock?
star hat with the bottle caps around it, or beer caps.
me, Bucky, Sonny Evans, this cat, Chris Reagan. He's no longer with us, but we had all been at a party one night and we stole the liquor from the guy's house, and it was Kool-Aid mixed with vodka. Well, these geniuses, everybody not named Clay in the car, decided that they wanted to do that the next night. So what we did is we went to the liquor store. They bought vodka and packs of powdered Kool-Aid,
Ooh.
mixed it together, and thought this is the same thing that guy had. I'm like, he diluted it. Water.
Yeah.
You're missing the water. And they never did it. Well,
water and sugar.
water, yeah. Well, all this was sugar and sugar. There was no water. And they drank it, and poor Chris Reagan, it went straight to the head, man. I remember we were at the depot, and, you know, the stage was kind of, it's just the same stage is still there.
Yeah.
Hallamals. And, man, he fell off, and he hit head first. So we ended up at the hospital. We got to call his brother and be like, I think Chris has had alcohol poisoning and a concussion. And, you know, every time I say alcohol poison, I cringe a little because I've had it once. Well, knowingly once it almost died. It was me and Sonny. What's up, dog? And we were at the Groove, and there's one that it was the first like techno rave bar in Jackson. It was really the only one that was successful in my opinion. Yeah, that kind of did its own thing. And man, we started the night off. I still to this day can't smell Seagram 7 without wanting to throw up, doing flaming Dr. Peppers and all that. And I ended up passing out basically in State Street,
I thought.
And long story short, ended up at the hospital, and they were like, man, had your friend not got you here, you know, within about, if even 3 minutes later getting here, you'd be dead. So 30 years later, Sonny Evans still reminds me
He saved your life.
that he saved my life. And I'm like, man, good Lord. Sometimes I'm like, I wish you'd just let me die. You know.
What's Sonny up to now?
Man, Sonny's doing pretty well for himself, man. He's married. He got him a bride from overseas somewhere. And
I knew it.
and he's
Did that come
he's a
UPS?
paramedic. I don't know. I had to ask him.
A paramedic.
Free shipping.
Yep, he's a paramedic, man. He's doing well for himself. Let's see here. Let's check up on some of these. I see Miles. Shout out to Miles Swain. I'm sure Miles got into a fight or two at a bar back in the day. Let's see here. John Craig chimed in. First time I met Trigg, he grabbed me up. The next morning I was in the gym. John, I don't know if you were listening earlier, but the first time I met Trigg, he grabbed me up too. And the next morning I owned the bar.
Like, I'll show that motherfucker.
We've been friends ever since. It was all good. I mean, really, that story sounds worse than it is.
The first time I met Trigg was Inez's off Bailey. He was dragging someone out by the neck and just dropped them on the railroad tracks. And he looked at us and said, y'all come on in. And I'm like, do we really fucking want to?
I know.
But we went in and had a great time.
Where was that?
That was Inez's. The original.
The Bailey?
Yeah.
What was your favorite Inez's? Bailey Avenue?
It has to be.
Okay. Now, I loved it, but I'm going to tell you the one that I have some of my best memories at is the one where the green room is now.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Back there.
Right off 55.
Yeah.
Behind the old Jaguar.
I can't remember.
It's like the Flags and more stuff store now. Sorry, my dogs are
it's like
wrestling.
Isn't that Cedars of Lebanon? Or
Yeah.
over
Well,
off
it's
there?
not Cedars of Lebanon, but it's that
It's
same
over off-
general
it's-
vicinity.
yeah.
Yeah, right over there. Well, we got some of the Jump Out Boys from Capitol Police watching. Shout out to the hashtag Jump Out Boys. Y'all would have. I'm sure they got in plenty of fights back in the day. Big Mike said, "Jump Out Boys still doing that off Bailey Avenue." Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Let's see. Bound Street is what it was. Thank you, Bracewell. Bound Street. And then you know where the gay bar, where they keep putting gay bars over and over and over on Northview by Meadowbrook.
Yeah, the old
The NJ's Pockets.
yeah, it was polyesters and
Jaded,
all that.
they're jaded, but it's been a million gay bars. And let me just say this: before I became,
It was the New Edge at one point.
it was, and it was Inez's for a long time.
Yeah,
So there was one point where look, I talk a lot of shit about like drag queens and stuff like that, and just all this political culture war stuff. But man, we used to have a good time, like getting drunk and going to the drag shows at the gay bars. I mean, that was fun back in the day, like just some late night bullshit to get into. You know, and man, it's just what happened to those days? Now it's just all bring your kids to the drag show. Like, no, we're gonna beat you up if you try to get kids to a drag show. But anyway, that location was a fun Inez's too, and it was the New Edge at one point.
yeah.
You know, I don't remember if Chip was involved in that or who was involved in that.
I think he was to a certain point.
At Fire, what was the name of the gay bar that Chip owned?
Well, Dick and Jane's.
Dick and Jane.
Yes.
And he used to send me to the gay bar as punishment.
So the gay bar was right across the street from 105.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, I always like a late night party. So when 105 would be winding down, or I just kind of got tired of that doing the 105 thing, I would just go over, grab some people, like, hey, let's go across the street over to the gay bar. And dude, I remember some of my black buddies didn't know what it was, and we walked in, and they start looking around. It was like, what have you done to me? Where have you taken me? People can't see me here. The hood won't appreciate this. But man, we had a good time. And Jackson used to be so fun.
It did.
Every night there was your Wednesday night was ladies' night, Thursday night was college night, Friday night you went and saw a band.
Yep.
And then man, there were some great live bands of Fred, all of Fred's different bands, Blindside, Storage 24, Fuse X. I mean, I know he wasn't in Fuse X, but just that era. Max Cherry, Geronimo Rex.
I mean, even later than that, you had like Charlie Mars, and you had the Screaming Cheetah Wheelies and all those guys.
I mean, you had so many good bands that were coming through. I mean, the live music, this group right here,
Hammer
and Jackson, pound for pound, we've been blessed to work some of and just have partied at some of the clubs and seen some of the best live shows. I mean, I still Nickelback and Three Doors Down at Hallowell's with special guest Saliva in the big room at Hallowell's, and I bet you 150 people didn't show up.
Yeah. Right.
That's the kind of, I know people can make all the Nickelback jokes you want. They were still one of the biggest bands in the world, so to see them play a little club, and the next time that some version of that tour came to town, it was at One Jackson Place.
Yeah.
I think that was the last concert they did there, was the Nickelback and Three Doors Down.
Damn.
We did, you and I, we went to, what was it? Snoop Dogg.
Yes.
Hallowell.
Yes, Snoop Dogg at Hallowell's.
Yeah.
It was pretty fun.
Now, yeah, I was at the Snoop Dogg at Hallowell. Somewhere over there on my wall, which y'all can't see behind the camera, is my wall of tickets and backstage passes that I have framed. So you know where that was inspired from.
Yeah.
Drake Elder that had Bebop.
Yeah, yeah.
His office inside the Coliseum, the Ticketmaster office.
Yes.
Now his was professionally done.
Yeah, exactly.
Mine not so much. There's Scotch tape and some poster board, but that's about it anyway. I've got one of the Snoop Dogg tickets because one of the Snoop Dogg show did so good the first night. They added a second night on the spot.
The second night was the one we went to.
Yeah, the second night was added on the fly, and they had like some old tickets, and they just wrote Snoop Dogg on with a Sharpie. And I've got one of those maybe framed, but I've got it in my box that I haven't put up there yet.
I don't even know if we had tickets. How did we get in? I think we just showed up.
Chops Trigg.
Yeah. All right.
I see he has a trapped ticket up there.
Lance asked, what was the Canadian band that came through all the time? Well, there was Cross Canadian. Oh, US.
US, yeah.
US. The Us Bus. Now you were their personal security, weren't you? Didn't you go on
well,
tour with them?
No. I mean, we hung out all the time.
What's up with Jeff? They still play.
Yeah, they still there. But no, me and Dallas would go, to different states and shit to hang out with them and chill.
Lance says that's not who it was. But Lance, it was Cross Canadian Ragweed. I don't remember who else would have been a Canadian band, but that came through all the time. Let's see here.
U.S. is about the only Canadian. Dallas.
What band did Dallas play in?
No, I was just wondering what he was up to now.
I think he's still working at Ferguson's. The lighting store.
Well, he's part of he had part of a hot rod shop out in Byram too.
Oh, is he?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's still playing it. I think he may even be drumming somewhere now. My old Facebook page got deleted.
Well,
everybody was on, so I've been having to slowly add people back.
He was with Voodoo 13, but something happened there, and they all had a falling out. So,
yep.
We went and got tattoos and everything.
Bubba McPherson says, "How can you forget Spank the Monkey? They're still kicking." We hadn't forgot Spank, man. There was so Spank was a different story, right? Because we all kind of ran in a different circle, other than when you worked at the dock.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, I spent when I had my boat, I spent a lot of time at the dock and with Spank and all that. And that was a fun time. But like all the Jackson bars weren't really cover band bars. Like the Jackson bars were booty music, DJs, and original bands on Friday nights.
Exactly. And the dock was always a cover band.
Same band Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday during the summer. Yeah,
it's like they just ran a circuit.
Yeah.
So,
and like I said, those bands were great. I love those guys. Well, hell, isn't that Heath? Isn't that Heath from Spank the Monkey? Just saying, don't forget Spank the Monkey. No, it's Bubba. I'm sorry. It's Bubba. But Heath, wasn't Heath's last name Ferguson or something like that?
No, it's is it Resnault?
That's right. That's
something like that.
My bad. Yeah,
I can't pronounce it. He's a coon ass.
He's good people.
I love Heath. Heath and Joel, they are awesome.
Let's see. The comments coming on in now, man. Danny Ford said 2-ton meat plow. That was always. Lance got it. He's the Theory of a Dead Man. So I saw Theory of a Dead Man out here in Brandon back in March or April. They were making up the COVID show that got canceled 3 or 4 times. I'm not a big fan of their new music at all, but the older stuff, man, look, I say all that to say this. They put on one of the best concerts I've seen in a long time. I mean, those guys are professionals.
Yeah.
I mean, they got up there, cool light show, really, really put on a great show.
Still, some of the best shows, though, was the Seven Dust shows. Oh, dude.
Look, the Seven Dust,
I miss those guys.
I mean, look, I'm still plugged in with their head of security, Yoshi.
Yeah.
And he's also Breaking Benjamin's head of security.
Oh, okay.
So I'd never been backstage at the Brandon Amphitheater yet. I've been to a million concerts there, but there's nobody I knew played. It was always some weird shit. I waited to the day of when Breaking Benjamin came here, and I just dug up an old number. I texted Yoshi, ? He still had my phone number. He was like, "What do you need?" and look, Yoshi's a big, jacked up, all muscle half Asian dude. And there ain't a whole lot of just big Asian dudes, But you figure there's a billion people over there. There's bound to be a couple big ones. Yoshi is one of them. And so I finally got to go and do the whole backstage party experience at Brandon Amphitheater with those guys. That was a good time. Let's see here. Bubba says, he's replying. I'm not going to get into people's back and forth conversations. Let's see. Amber says, haven't seen Trigg in years. Love him. His wife's in here. Be careful.
Just simmer down.
I'm just kidding. Nolan, what's up, dude? Nolan McElroy, man. I tell you, Nolan's good people. I ran into him. It's probably been 6 months or more now, and 9 months. Back in March, I think, after a crawfish boil out there at BB's. They were having their crawfish boil or St. Patty's Day. That was it. It was St. Patty's Day after party. I wasn't going to St. Patty's parade, but they had the party out there at BB's. Saw Nolan for the first time in a long time.
I went to his wedding.
Nolan's? Yep. Let's see here. What else we got? Emily is back. It says Gwar and Mushroom Head. That was a good one there. Sean says,
was that the one at Fire?
Yeah.
See, I missed that one because I had a slave driver boss at this club I worked at, and he made fucking work that night.
who was it?
This guy named Clay Edwards.
Oh, well, that's back when me and Chip were beefing, I'm sure. And I was like, nobody's going to Chip's place. Sabotage that.
That was the crazy thing. Whenever they got the beef in, I was like, they were going for custody on me.
It's always the highest bidder.
So Amber says, didn't Egypt Central play? They did come around. Yeah. So Egypt Central, I brought them to 105 once, and then they played Fire also. So yeah, but that was Memphis had some great bands. We discovered One Less Reason and got them to
those
play.
guys are awesome.
Look, I tell the story a good bit. One of the funniest or craziest scenes I've ever seen in my life is I brought One Less Reason to town to do back-to-back shows. An acoustic party at Reed Pierce's for my birthday,
Yes.
and the next night to play a full band show at Hallowell's. Both events sold out. That's how popular One Less Reason was in Jackson. That I was going to pay $700 out of my pocket for the acoustic show and just let everybody in free at Reed Pierce's.
Yeah. So
many people showed up that Reed's like, how much were you paying them? I was like, $700. He's like, I'm paying the band. We sold more liquor than we ever thought we would. They paid the band. We get back to my house. I walk into my kitchen at whatever time of the morning it was, and there's Chops and who were you in the? You were standing in the kitchen butt naked drinking.
Fuck, I don't know.
Standing in the kitchen butt naked doing shots of Jägermeister at the freezer in my parents' house.
Well, yeah, that's because we just got out of the swimming pool, and I needed a drink.
Keep in mind, this is August, late August. My birthday's August 17th, so it's in that general vicinity. But yeah, I can't remember. It was somebody else that was in there. I turned the corner, and there y'all are naked in the kitchen doing shots of Jaeger.
It was Pedro, wasn't it?
I ain't sure.
I think it was.
I ain't sure, man. That was good times.
Apparently, I had this problem at a certain point in my life. I would get really, really drunk and just get naked. Just whatever. Fuck, I don't care. I'm naked.
I mean, just like talking about being scarred. When we like I said, we did a shot of Jaeger to kick this party off, just kind of loosen up a little bit. And the first thing I thought about was, I still can't think of Jaeger without thinking of Chops naked in my parents' kitchen. Hey, real quick before we forget, man, we got on some shirts here. Fueled by Haters. This is Trigg's Son's brand. Is that what's going on here? How can people support this? Come jump on the mic and tell everybody real quick. Tell everybody who you are and how they can support you.
I'm Trigg's son. Blaze on Facebook. I'm Titan. So if you want a Fuel by Hater shirt, y'all can follow me on Facebook or Instagram. My Instagram Trigg 3X. My Facebook is Titan Trigg, not Blaze Trigg. And yeah, thank y'all. If y'all do buy one, appreciate it, y'all.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, do this. Comment in the comments of the live feed so people can find you. All right, so yeah, man, y'all buy a shirt, Fueled by Haters. If there was ever a crew of people, one in particular, that was fueled by their haters, it would be this group. Oh, yeah. Chops, will you adjust his mic back?
Yeah.
There we go. Man, that's good. All right, man. I love getting the crew together like this. It is like a family reunion in the comments. Just like everybody kind of coming together. Trigg, your wife says, ask Chops about the time when we were roommates at the house in Richland and it got raided and everyone acted like they were asleep.
That was it. Tim's.
That was y'all.
Well, I know you wasn't there. that was when we were living over at Tim's house, right down the road from where y'all lived.
Right.
Yeah, it was crazy. Which I think I actually was asleep because I was asleep on the couch and they came in. I was like, I don't know what the fuck y'all talking about.
All right, so I'm going to do this. Let's move it back to the nightclub stuff and kind of get out of the personal stuff that pops off at houses and whatnot. Because that can go down a dark road. Chops, you were there this night. Trigg, you weren't, but I'm sure you've heard about it at this point. It was late at the dock one night. Daryl and had just got back from LA. He was there. I was there. The dock was closed. These dudes come back in and start whooping on. I mean, I'm not saying you get your ass whooped, but they start jumping on security guards.
Well, what that was is I'd kicked them out earlier in the night.
Yeah,
and
this
somehow,
is 4 a.m.
Yeah, and somehow they just strolled right back in after we're closed.
After they got out of jail.
Yeah,
they got arrested.
Yeah, because they were running their mouths to Reservoir Patrol.
Yeah. Well, we're sitting in there. It's me, you, Daryl Arnold, Dirty D, Vince Vance.
Yes.
Oh,
I will give it to some Vince Vance. That old man was throwing down right around with us.
Hair.
Yes.
Man, he picks up a chair.
Yes.
And goes WWE on somebody with the chair.
And then I think he threw like a trash can or something across the dance floor. I was like, dang.
He had to be every bit of 70 at the time.
Oh yeah. If not older.
Yeah.
So
that was one of the wildest nights.
So what you're saying is they got kicked out, got arrested, went to jail, came back, and fought security.
Yes.
I wouldn't.
But the fucked up thing is, it was like me and one other security guy that was actually inside at the time. So I'm the one that kicked them out. So they come back in and they're like walk around behind me. And I look and I was like, hey, I threw y'all out there. And he's just like grabbed me by the back of the shirt and brought me down to the floor. And so as I get back up, I go at him. And one of my own guys is trying to stop me. And I'm like, get the fuck off me.
Fire
him. Oh, man. Look, that was wild. But the thing was, it was already 4 a.m. We're just sitting in the van and loaded out. We're just sitting in there talking. And the front door was still open.
Yeah. They just strolled on in.
I mean, just strolled on in and just got to swinging. But I mean, they sat there in jail and marinated. Got mad as hell.
Yeah.
Apparently stumbled back off into some more alcohol when they got out. Or maybe they didn't go to jail, but they got hauled off by Reservoir Patrol.
And then the whole fucked up thing in the situation is I get them barred. Well, not even a week later, they let them back in because they spend a lot of money in our bar. Okay.
At least they didn't buy the party.
You're right. You are right.
Well, look, say what you want. I mean, I know how to get people out. I'm kind of been the Pied Piper over the years of getting people to come places and do things. Well, let's see. There was another good story, and I was just thinking about it, but you went that direction, and I have forgotten what I was going to say because I'm trying to think of like good old bar memories here. And well, I'm drawing blank. I had a good one, guys, and this is something I do every now and then. I just completely forget what I'm talking about. So I will hit the comments back here to see if anything pings a memory about the fighting. Okay, yeah. So Mama Bear Emily put a link to the Fueled by Haters shirts or to Titan's Facebook page. Tony has a good idea. He says a sip of beer would help. Okay, look, Casey Pickens brings up the Horseshoe. Did either one of y'all work at the Horseshoe?
I did.
You did?
Yeah.
So remember the time.
I actually walked in one night and was basically told I now work there.
Remember the time that when we first opened Crazy 8?
The billboard.
Oh, she was so pissed at you. Oh, she fucking hated you.
Well, she had this little methodical way, and look, I like Boots now. God bless them. She had this methodical way of spreading gossip and rumor around Heinz that they're closed or they're not open or they're getting raided tonight. That bar owners used to love that one. I heard they were getting raided tonight.
Yeah,
and it would always hurt our business. So finally, I went and got this huge billboard that was right above it was on their property.
In the parking lot.
Yeah, it was in the parking lot.
And it was the massive billboards. And it said Crazy 8 and had an arrow point that said, "This ain't it."
Yeah.
It had the hours of operation out there. And where I think I got that idea from DeWitt and Renee did it. Okay, so when the doc was rocking and rolling, obviously, one of the incarnations of No, I had to have done it first. The timeline don't match up. I had to have done it before they did. Well, they also did it outside of Banana Joe's and
Yeah.
that whole old Rodeo's building, whatever all that was.
Yeah.
They had the dot billboard right there, but it was a smaller one just because that's what was there. But yeah, man, they hated that Crazy Eight billboard, which I would have hated it too, but talk shit, get hit.
Trust me, I heard it every Thursday night when I went in there.
So timeline here, Crazy Eight opens August 10th, 2001. 1 month in the day, basically later, 9/11 happens.
Yep.
And we were just starting to really get our feet under us, kind of get it figured out. Well, you think you know about how to run a bar until you open one. And I mean, I'd worked it a bunch and been around a bunch, but man, once you get rolling, and so man, that's a lot of personality. We had some security guards that had no business being security guards at the beginning there. I ain't gonna name no names, God bless them. But we had some security guards that had no business being security guards. We're starting to get all the bugs worked out, and you're a buddy, but you can't work here. That type stuff. 9/11 happens. I'm like, well, that's it, guys. That was on a Tuesday. I was like, that Thursday night, I was like, why aren't we even opening? Well, I'd be damned. We didn't have our biggest night ever. But to date, in that month, we had like 600 or 700 people show up on that Thursday night for college night. And what I'll never forget about that is it reminded me that college kids aren't thinking about all the shit adults are thinking about.
Oh, no.
Like even we were under attack. It's still smoldering fire on the side of 9/11.
They're like, fuck it, we're getting drunk.
And at Crazy Eight, it's shake that ass, bitch, and let me see what you got. Or Cash Money Records, taking over for the 99 and the 2000s. Just if you were in the way of some medium-built white girl between you and the dance floor, you were getting run over. You were getting run over.
Who was the first DJ at Crazy Eight?
Man, what was the guy's name?
I know at one point it was Chris Vitt.
Chris, it may have been Chris, but it may have been the first DJ there.
It was some older guy.
Was it the older guy that he had just got out of jail? He was somebody's friend.
Awesome.
Bill was his name. Bill's a good dude. I would love to know how to find Bill. If you're on my Facebook friends and you're watching this and I don't happen to be putting two and two together, please tag yourself.
I don't remember Bill.
Man, we used to be. It was just.
He was a good dude, man.
It was just crazy as hell the way, shit happened back then.
Well, it was so funny how you would meet people. How about Scott? I mean, Scott was at my birthday.
Yeah.
And another good dude. Now, we ended up with some people there at Crazy Eight that like Scott rode with us, just like you, Trigg. I mean, all the way through the 105 time. Right. I mean, you finally tapped out at some point, maybe when we brought on the business partners there at the end. Yeah. And that's about the time I should have tapped out too, and I wasn't far behind you. But Scott rode with us to the end there. You were there. Steve Mason. I mean, he didn't necessarily work. He went security, but I mean, he
DJ'd a lot.
He did a lot of DJing and the light show and all that stuff. And I'm trying to think who else rode to Grandpa Corey Hammond. He tapped out before we even got downtown. That's about the time him and Missy started chasing, or he started chasing her and couldn't see straight.
Oh Lord!
And he basically missed the whole downtown ride. I mean, he was as big a part of Crazy Eight as anybody.
Yeah.
Speaking of Grandpa G-Paul, he came up to Pops one night. He want me to let him in. Yeah. You can let me in. Like, dude, it's a different program now. I don't have the same stroke. And he'd clown me in front of people.
Oh.
Did you clown him back?
I clowned him back.
Man, look, I was telling a story on the radio show the other day, and it was from before our nightclub, because me and Grandpa grew up together.
Yeah.
I mean, from like high school, 14 years old on up. And I was telling a story about us going to a party, and Daniel DeWeese, God rest his soul, he got too drunk and we had him in the back of a truck. And we drove to a car wash in Byron. Wyndham was asleep in the back of the truck just to prank him. But he raises up halfway through the car wash like the Undertaker.
And gets slapped.
No, and he just looks. Oh, he's getting slapped by the brushes in the water. And he's just looking to the left and to the right and trying to figure out what is going on. And I'm like, he had this look on his face like, man, he's going to kill somebody. And who's the first person he swings on? Grandpa. Had nothing to do. The one person had nothing to do with any of it. And y'all don't know who Grandpa is. Grandpa was a friend of mine named Corey Hammond. He always, every other word out of his mouth telling a story about his grandfather. So we just started calling him Grandpa. And it just stuck. Then he got now calls him G-Paw.
Exactly.
And I had talked to him about 5 or 6 years. About 11 o'clock every night, I get first off, you call me on Facebook Messenger. I think you're a stalker, weirdo. You've been hacked. Something. Just don't call me through Facebook Messenger, but Grandpa calls me through Facebook Messenger. And, when you ain't talked to him in 5 years, you better be ready to sit down and have a conversation.
Oh, dude.
I'm like, man, he probably thinks I'm ignoring his calls because I don't want to talk to him. I had to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I ain't starting a conversation at 11 o'clock with Grandpa and having to catch up on 5 years of conversation. But anyway, so back to the gas station and Daniel swinging on Grandpa. Well, we just leave Daniel there. Clearly he's in a bad mood and nobody really wants to deal with him after taking him to the car wash. We go back to my folks' house down on Terry Road there. And, we're there about an hour. So I'm like, well, I guess we better go back and get Daniel. So we're going back up Terry Road and he's walking down Terry Road. And I said this on the radio the other day. I was clearly a terrible friend. But, hindsight's 2020. Don't be friends with me, or don't get that drunk around me.
Yeah.
And we're passing, and we're like, Daniel, get in. First person he swings on again is Corey. I don't really remember anything after that, but I mean, he was determined it was all Corey's fault, and he had nothing to do with any of it.
Clearly, he was not letting it go.
No, maybe Corey was the smallest one too. I figured if he had to.
What now? Corey was a small guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. If he had a chance, because Daniel wasn't a big guy either. If he had a chance of beating anybody, it was going to be Corey.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to whoop ass.
And he had like that gold medallion he always wore.
He did. On Nugget.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Grandpa.
Let's see here, man. We got any more texts that we need to catch up on? No, the texts have slowed down a little bit, or the comments have, unless mine's just running behind here. Let's see here, man. Look, y'all be sure to follow my YouTubes and Facebooks and Rumbles and all that stuff. Just go at SaveJXN. You can see the little thing on the bottom, and it's everywhere. And we're doing this, and we tell stories like this on my show all the time, and hopefully we can do more of these with these guys. They've never, neither one of y'all ever done a podcast, have you?
No.
Yeah. So, this can be an intimidating thing to step off into and do if you haven't done it. And like, I didn't do any show prep for this. I'm like, man, I've known these guys for 30 years. If the three of us can't find something to talk about, I don't need to be doing this. So I just thought we'd sit down tonight, hit play, and look, no game plan at all. We just thought, man, this is something for all of our friends. If something was to happen to one of us, man, this will exist forever unless we get hit with an EMP, and be able to tell these stories. Our kids will be able to see this, and the people go back and be able to remember this kind of stuff. So I enjoy it. It's Trigg. No, not Trigg. I'm sorry. Chops.
Yes.
Tell everybody what you're doing now. You're driving 18-wheelers?
Yes, I drive a truck for a living.
So you were doing private security for a while, and now you're doing 18-wheelers. What made you decide to do it?
Well, I was actually doing construction, and it kind of dried up, and like I hadn't had a job doing construction in like 2 months, and I was like, I got to make money. I got to figure out something to do.
Don't give Trigg COVID.
So I went to school, and here I am.
How long have you been doing it?
Next May will be 3 years.
3
so
years?
2.5 years, somewhere up in there.
I mean, I know the answer to this because I've talked to you before I asked this question. But so everybody else in the world knows, I mean, you're doing pretty well with it. You're actually to the point of being an instructor, right?
I'm actually a trainer, yeah.
Trainer, yeah. Well, that's good stuff, brother. Good stuff. Trigg, I know what you're doing. You're a professional bicycle BMX dad.
Yes.
And tell us, man, brag on the kids for a minute, man. Well, I mean, what are you doing? What are the kids up to? Tell us how have we got a pro? Are you going to be in the X Games? What's your plan? You going to be in the next Rad movie?
That would be awesome.
I mean, Titan over here is a championship BMX racer.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like real deal, Holyfield, no BS. And I mean, you got your ears.
Have you ever seen the movie Rad?
Oh, dude, it was awesome.
I met the guy that starred in Rad.
Can you name the guy? Because nobody can.
I can't remember his
See?
name. But we were in Tulsa, Oklahoma at a BMX race.
Yeah.
And he was there.
Mm.
It was when they were trying to do a hell track.
Yeah.
Remember the hell track?
Yeah.
They were doing a hell track like modern day hell track thing like a couple of years ago, and he was there promoting it.
So every now and then on Facebook, and after saying all this and to hear, you know, because Facebook listens to everything we say, things will pop up for sale on our timelines.
Yeah.
I had this conversation a couple of years ago. Next thing I know, there's some company making retro rad racing jerseys and stickers and shirts and all these things. And man, it took every fiber of my being not to order one of everything.
You should have.
You know, I may, when y'all leave tonight, I may watch Rad. Sit over here by myself, like, oh man.
And then you could follow up Rad with Gleaming the Cube.
I was gonna say Gleaming the Cube, best Christian Slater movie ever. And one of the funny things, they re-released that movie with a different name.
Really?
Yeah, it was like for whatever reason, I don't know if they just figured Gleaming the Cube, because that's supposed to be a skateboard term. It's terrible.
I don't know.
Let's see here.
I think the way they do those movies like that, the names are like whatever.
Let's do this.
Different countries.
What
have different
movie?
names.
What did they rechange the name to Gleaming the Cube? We'll ask Google.
According to Wikipedia, Gleaming the Cube is a 1989 American neo-noir film directed by Graham Clifford and starring Christian Slater as Brian Kelly, a 16-year-old skateboarder investigating the death of his adopted Vietnamese brother.
Okay, but that didn't answer my question. What did they change the name of Gleaming the Cube to?
According to Wikipedia, Gleaming the Cube is a 1989
Well,
American
you know what?
neo-noir film directed
Long
by
story short,
Fuck
they
Google.
changed the name of Gleaming the Cube.
16-year-old skateboarder investigating
Remember-
the death of his adopted Vietnamese
Oh,
brother.
okay. They changed the name to A Brother's Justice. And it's also apparently called Skate or Die in some other countries.
That was a
Brother's
badass
Justice.
Nintendo game.
So remember the scene of the guy being pulled on the skateboard behind the Pizza Hut truck?
Yeah.
You know who that was?
Who?
Tony Hawk.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh.
So little
The
all right.
tidbit.
useless 80s trivia there for you. Let's see here.
And then you could watch Breaking.
I guess I should just be paying attention to the comments because these people are way smarter than I am. And David Clark had already named it in there. They renamed it The Brothers Revenge or Justice. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the chat so everybody else can see it. There we go. We'll change the screen up a little bit. People can see the chat on the overlay there. And we'll see how that works. All right. Does anybody in the chat have a question for any of us? Chops, Trigg, myself. Junior asked Clay, where can we get one of their shirts? Junior, you can check them out there, man. Emily tagged Titan, Trigg's son, in the comment, so you know what it looks like. Here it is here. Computer's going a little slow. Bear with me. That's what the comment looks like there. You'll have to scroll back up a little bit there and get one of them Fueled by Hater shirts, man. They gifted us one, so I do appreciate it. Y'all ain't expecting me to pay for this thing, are you? I show love. Do what? So I use this company called. I got a free sticker. And it's all done to order, so I don't have to add a penny into it. And you want the shirt style, whatever, pay $20, they'll ship it to you. And I never do anything. Once a month or so, I get a $15 check from them, like somebody actually bought a shirt. But I'm gonna get some made here locally. Get Michael Applewhite to do me some.
Yeah.
Over at Shirt Shop Graphics in Byram, free plug, Michael Applewhite. And I'm gonna sell them, give them out somewhere. Do it.
I told him we're gonna beat Michael Apple.
Oh yeah. Do y'all have somebody that does them? You know,
Yeah.
Good. We were in Marvell. We talk about V. We got some V stories, I'm sure. You know, we should have got him to come up. He's back here. You know.
Yeah, I think the last place I saw him was at your party at
Black
Axes.
Yeah. He's times in 2 years into and both of them with me throwing my birthday at back porch back in August and the radio launches. Yeah, what I've learned is we get older, people will still come out once a year. You know, like in mass. Like you can get everybody out once a year, and I don't mind being the shameless plug guy to attach my name to it. If we can get everybody out and have a time. Let's see here. My she's like, I don't know if it's your Wi-Fi or mine, but the live keeps. It's not this app, this camera that I use to stream into the program and all that stuff. I just didn't want to use my phone.
Yeah, I've noticed on here it's lagging.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you'll have that on big jobs. You'll have that on big jobs. Let's wrap this one up so we're not here all night. 5 o'clock comes early. You guys, anything you want to plug?
If they didn't want to bring up a story, I'm not going to keep it up.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be going through a divorce. I don't need to go through any lawsuits on top of it. So we'll leave it there, and people will hit us up with a million ideas, and maybe we'll add another person to the mix next time around and do this. And this will be available in audio only if you want to go back and don't want to have to deal with the lag in video, or if you listen to podcast, I'll have it posted. Enjoyed it. Like I said, we can sit here all night, man. I don't want to burn you guys out. I want us to be able to everybody that joined us in the comments. Chops, there's your wife. I just in there.
Yes.
Shout out to Melissa. Shout out to everybody. Again, Emily, thanks for letting them get out of the house on a school night. Titan, how old are you? 17. Dang, boy. You're a big boy for 17. You going to transition into fighting? Get him over there to the Pearl Boxing Club. Bombay. Shot them both. I can't either. I
had a couple of concussions.
Yeah, but yeah, you don't want to mess with that. What we know now about concussions.
Exactly.
You know, back in the day, walk it off.
That whole getting hit shit hurts.
A little pneumonia under the nose, little pneumonia tablets. What were those things called when they wake you back up with the little rocks,
smelling salt?
Yeah, smelling salt. Like it was like pneumonia. And
yeah.
So just kind of off subject here, but the ceramic coating we use when I do the ceramic coating job on cars, if you take a little whiff of that, it's the same things like, whoo.
Oh,
I had a customer in there the other day. I was trying to explain to him, this is the real deal stuff. This ain't no middle of the mall ceramic. I opened it up. It's like, smell this. Like, don't go too hard. But it wasn't good. It was too late.
Ooh.
Yeah, the dude almost fell out there in the chair at the dealership. I was like, oh man, I'm sorry. I just letting you know that's the real deal. Imagine if it does that to your brain, what it'll do for your paint. But all right, well, look, man, this was a great time. I appreciate you guys coming over. We got some cold pizza to eat. And get ready for tomorrow. Y'all tune in. Clay Edwards Show tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. on 103.9 WYAB. And again, appreciate everybody. Appreciate you guys for coming over. I appreciate the shirt. Appreciate everything, man. Y'all stay safe, stay blessed, and we'll be back and we'll do this again.